The Sandy and Toddcast is a Mindgarden Media podcast in association with
Screw You, Todd
Productions.
Broadcasting from two very different yet magical places not found on any map. Get ready to discuss the strange, weird, ghostly, crazy, spooky, and odd things that take place around us each and every day. All while having a little bit of fun. This is the Sandy and Toddcast.
Welcome again to the Sandy and Toddcast. She is Sandy.
Todd.
And here we are on season, I don't know, an episode, I'm not sure, because that's the way we roll. What is it?
Happy summer.
Season 11? Season 12?
No, it's season 12, and it's episode 5.
Only 5? Are you sure?
5. Wait, let me double check while we're here.
I'm going to guess it's either 6 or 7.
No. Wait a minute.
Season 12.
Oh, you're right. It is. It's 6.
It's 6.
Episode 6.
All right.
Yep, it's episode 6. Good job.
So I win.
What do you win?
Well, there's no prizes or anything like that.
My undying love and devotion.
Yeah, let's, no, that's fine.
We'll move on.
Yeah,
All
right. How you been?
Well,
what's new?
Well, I've been getting along. I've been okay. Last Wednesday was my mom's graveside service.
Yep.
So everybody got together for that. And you want to hear something really funny? I didn't get a chance to tell you this because you're busier than every bee in the world.
Yeah.
It was interesting. I cried. So everybody knows I'm an ordained minister. So my mother was Catholic, and up until a couple of years ago, she was going to church somewhat regularly. And so I thought that it would be nice to say a poem for her and also to do a couple of prayers. And so I was pretty good through the whole thing. I didn't get all blubbery crying or anything like that. I did break down a couple times during the poem and, the prayer and that kind of stuff. Just minor breakdown and everything. But Todd, it was so weird. After everybody told some stories and talked, and I was so proud of my niece and nephew that were there that actually spoke. Got up in front of everybody and actually shared a memory and spoke. And I know how difficult it was for them. So I was so proud of them. So we all told some stories, and everybody was, after the service, my mom's ashes were there during the service. And then they took the table away and they lower her ashes into the ground. And it was kind of weird, I guess you could say, in that, I did not break down during that point. I broke down more. I got more upset during the actual service than I did watching my mom be lowered into the ground. And I know that sometimes it's hard for people to watch that when it's the casket or the ashes. But it wasn't for me. And I thought about it afterwards and I thought, it's just the ashes. It's just the body. And I especially, with everything that I've experienced and my belief system, I know there's more. And I think that actually helped me get through that moment in understanding that there is more. That is just your body, your earthly body, I guess you could say, that there is more than that she still lives on. Maybe it's not in the same form that she used to live on, but that's not the finality of it. Having the casket or the remains go into the ground is not the finality of it, because they still do live on. And we both experienced things in our lives that have made us kind of understand that. And so it was just an odd dynamic for me that I was not stressed at all watching that part of the service. I was upset from the memories, sad from the memories, but not from that part of the service. So I just thought that was interesting. I guess it's just me knowing that there is more.
Right.
So I just thought that was interesting. I thought I'd share it with everybody. I don't think there's a right or wrong in that. I just felt like not cold, not numb, just, I get it. It's just the body. It's
Right.
just the physical being.
What?
It's not.
We've had your mom on the show before, and
Yeah.
but I can't remember. How did she feel about paranormal stuff?
She used to get pretty excited when I would tell her stories about, she would come over to the house and babysit the dog, our dog Jack before he passed, and then Spike. She would come over while we were gone for sometimes longer periods of time for an investigation, and she would love to hear the stuff that we got, the evidence, the personal experiences. I used to kind of joke with her and say, we have to figure out your word for after you pass so that you can come back and share it with me. And one time we actually did a little bit of a spirit box session in our living room, which was odd. We didn't really get anything, but she wanted to see how it worked.
Right.
And she was very excited about that. So she believed. And when she was in the emergency room the night that she passed, and she was all hooked up to everything, and we were getting ready to let her go, I gave her the word. I gave her a word.
Right.
Like I said last week. And I'm just going to wait a little bit, and then I'm going to see if that word can come through. You never know. I feel like, I do believe from my experience and just my knowing that there is much more than what a lot of people think there is. So, yeah, she was pretty excited about that kind of stuff. She was interested in it. Like I said it before, I do believe my grandmother had abilities. I don't know that my mother did. And if she did, she certainly wasn't aware of them. But, I do believe that it does run somewhat in families. I don't know how that works with, is it everybody passed down? Is it not everybody? I don't know, but it could explain some things in her life. She just didn't understand, Yeah. So I thought that was interesting. And then after I shared with you and you shared with me something, we did get a little bit of feedback after last week's episode when we were talking about why certain objects in my studio seem to be more focused on than others when it comes to movement and stuff. And Chris, who is wonderful and actually only lives a couple hours away from me, she listens to our show. She has been a long time nonstop listener, and I just appreciate her so much. She'll message me from time to time with questions or her thoughts on things. And she messaged me last week, and after listening to last week's episode, and I asked her if I had permission, if I could share what she said. And I thought this was really interesting because it sort of meshed with what your sister said to you about that episode. So she said, "Hey, Sandy, I heard the latest podcast. I wanted to weigh in on your thoughts of why your recent experiences are enhanced. The biggest thing is, imagine that you're a lighthouse and your beacon light has gotten brighter and attracts spirits to you. It's the same for me. The movement of Scooby may be due to lightness, but you have put value on moving it also. I will light a candle for your mom. I wish you, Dave and Todd, love and light each day." Thank you so much for that, Chris. So I thought that was an interesting way to look at it, that not only as I grow stronger does my sort of beacon light, and you and I have alluded to that several times before, but also I have put value on moving certain things moving in the room.
Yep.
And that goes along with what your sister Vicky said to you about almost like setting your intention. So in other words, if you're a spirit and you're a loved one, I would like you to do this to let me know that you're here with me. But if you're a spirit who needs my help, then I need you to do this to show me that you need my help. And I'm huge. Everybody who listens knows that I'm huge on setting intentions of any kind. And I thought that was really cool. And I thought that they were very similar in their idea of I'm actually, not directly, but I'm actually doing it or encouraging it by setting those intentions of what I expect to happen when they come, to either loved ones to visit, like Trey, my mom, my grandparents, anybody, my dog, or another spirit coming. So I thought that was really cool and really interesting. So I want to say thank you to Chris and thank you to Vicky for weighing in on that, because it made a lot of sense to me. It kind of reinforced what you and I had said.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So very cool stuff. Now, last week we talked about the day that everything just kind of happened all at once to me. The ornament fell, the Scooby fell, all at the same exact time. Because I mean, I sit here and I think about it and I'm like, okay, well, did Scooby just wear out and something, but when they happen at the same time, that's really strange. So what happened was I actually got out my spirit box right away. And I know you always tell me, like, if something happens, get out the spirit box. So what I've been doing is keeping my spirit box like right next to me so that in my audio recorder, just so that I can have it ready so that I can immediately get out the spirit box. So that day I happened to have it right next to me. So I did. And I did a little session. It was a short session. But lo and behold, I got a few things. And it's interesting because they're things that we've heard previously in spirit box sessions. So I sent them to you. I thought maybe we could just play them real quick. It was funny because Dave, who has hearing aids, and it's always better to listen to these with your headphones on than listen to them just at normal volume in the room.
Yeah.
Even if you turn it up, it's not going to be the same. So I had him come up and I had him listen to these with the headphones on, and even Dave with his hearing aids. The first one we're going to play, he goes, oh, he almost got surprised look on his face. He said, oh, that's really clear. And so, yeah, so I got a few things. So we thought we'd play those for you guys today.
All right. Here is the first one to play. Listen in and we'll discuss afterward.
Can you tell me your name?
Yeah.
Yep.
Male voice, Eric. And it was interesting, too, because I actually slowed it down a little bit. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. So I also have a version of the Eric just slowed down a little bit. And it was on that first one we just played that Dave, like, his eyes lit up and he says, oh, that was clear.
I heard it. Here it comes again, slowed down.
Can you tell me your name?
Yeah.
Eric. So, and I love that it's a male voice. Sometimes you hear random stuff, and if it's, Joe, but it's a female voice, you kind of think that's kind of odd. But I love that it was a male voice. So, and then I just asked a couple of other questions. So I'm not sure which one this is. So if you want to
just go ahead and play it.
Yeah.
All right.
Do you need my help?
So I heard a yes.
I did too. Yep.
Yeah, I heard a yes. I'm just blown away at how intelligent these answers are. It's kind of crazy. So.
All right, next one. I believe you asked, why do you need my help? Okay.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Why do you need my help?
Now, you thought it said safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was safe.
Let me play it one more time. I want to.
Okay.
Hold on one second.
Why do you need my help?
Yeah, I mean, and it also could be me just everything maybe because we've heard safe so many millions of times, maybe my brain just is going to safe. That's what I heard.
And if somebody else hears something else, let us know.
Yeah.
Maybe
please.
they're coming to you because it's a safe place. Is that what you're thinking?
I'm thinking that we've done some previous Spirit Box sessions where this word seems to come out a lot. There was even the big one that we did where about the studio here, where they were almost having a conversation back and forth, and they just kept saying, "It's safe, it's safe, safe, it's safe."
Right.
So it must just be a safe space. And again, I call the studio sort of my Fort Knox because I literally have my selenite above the window and the door. I have my witch's ball. I have, everything that I have so much selenite in here, so much black tourmaline, so much everything that I can't imagine that too much negativity could get in here and stay in here. So it may very well be a safe place. And again, if we're talking about beacons, and they can sense. I mean, when we're on investigations, they come to me. Like, I can feel them coming to me. I can feel their energy in my space. They're coming to me, and they're giving me the information that I get. So I can't imagine why they wouldn't feel safe here. Maybe it is a place where they really feel safe.
Yeah. And here's another one that may also correspond with that thought process. You asked the question, are you afraid? Here it comes.
Are you afraid?
There it is again.
Yep.
It's safe, but in a different voice.
Right.
Which is interesting. So is it possible they're coming here because it's a safe haven and I might be able to help them or give them some sort of clarity?
Or it gives them a break.
A break?
You know, I always wonder about that. Like, you know how as humans, right? We've got to have rest. We have to have respite from some of the bullshit in life.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe when your energy, you need that too.
I would think so. I mean, I agree with you. Maybe that's a possibility. It's like a play. It's if you think about
Hotel Sandy.
Yeah, great. But if you think about, like, let's say you're a child and you're at the mall or you're at an amusement park or wherever it is, don't you like have that one place that you would try to find where you would feel safe, where you would be okay until somebody found you or until, we used to have, when I was in college, I worked at one of our local malls and I worked for customer service. So we had a kiosk in the middle of the mall. And I can't tell you how many kids would come there because it was a safe place to come if they didn't find their parents. If they got disconnected from a parent or whoever, they would say, "Can you help me?" And lots of kids used to do that, believe it or not. I mean, we're talking, it was the 80s and early 90s, but, lots of kids would do that. And so I guess if you think about it, Todd, I mean, it might be like that, like you said. Maybe it's just the place that they can go to where they can feel safe until they can figure it out, or they can, I don't always feel like, I do feel differences in here, which is interesting as well, but I don't always feel that, so it would make sense that it's a come and go sort of thing. I don't know. I have helped to try to release spirits that were in here, especially after our spirit box sessions. I have tried to get them to, have clarity and things like that. And I don't know. I wonder if they tell each other about me, like, hey, there's that chick down on Earth that, go there and you feel safe. I don't know.
Like she's a little crazy, but like it's really safe there.
But she's not going to be mean to you or anything. So, So
she's got this really cool Scooby statue that we just keep knocking over. And like,
go knock it off.
It's like driving her insane. It's kind of funny.
It's so interesting. Like, I don't know. It's exciting to me, but at the same time, it's frustrating because we're never going to know for sure anything. We're never going to know anything for sure.
Maybe, right? Maybe something will actually happen for sure. And we'll get to a point where either our understanding or their understanding brings us together a little bit closer.
Which would be wonderful. You know, what I would like to see is I would like to literally see it with my own eyes. So far, it's been when I'm not in here or when I'm not looking at it. So it's happening when I'm in the room sometimes, but now when I'm looking, I would really like to watch something just get knocked over. I would like to watch Scooby get launched off of that gun cabinet onto the 3 feet away from the gun cabinet like I found it. That would be really great. I don't know. I'm hoping that someday we do understand it, but I have a feeling we won't understand it really until we're gone.
Yeah. And maybe then we still won't understand it. I mean, we're just assuming that when we leave Earth that we're going to know all. And
that we become enlightened.
and maybe we learn some things, but I'm doubting we have all the answers at that point.
There are so many theories. Like, some people have theories that it's just, it's a sliver of our consciousness. And this depends on how much you believe in reincarnation, which growing up, I never really believed in reincarnation. I never counted it out, but I never really believed. And then in the past, 10 years and some of the experiences that I've had and learning about myself more, I've actually completely changed that thought. And now I do believe that there's a possibility of reincarnation. So, there are theories that we only get a sliver of our consciousness that stays in this life because other parts of our souls go to other things, reincarnation or learning and teaching and experiencing other things. So I don't know. Maybe the part of consciousness that stays here with their loved ones or on Earth or the ghosts or the spirits that we see, maybe that's a small sliver. And maybe that's why it seems like some of them are so confused because they don't understand. We did the investigation at the beginning of April in the old Cure Cottage in Saranac Lake, which I have to say is probably hands down one of my favorites because not only was it incredibly active, but I felt like my abilities leveled up yet again. I was experiencing things. That house just lent itself to a leveling up, so to speak. Sue, too, who usually channels through hearing things come to her, was actually seeing them, which is something that she doesn't normally experience. And my entire set of abilities was just enhanced in that home. It was just fantastic. It was such an experience. But there was a woman that I was seeing even before we got to the house, which happens to me. But I could see her going from one room down the hall, across the hall to another room, and then back again. And I couldn't understand. And when I was in the house, it was even stronger. And I could picture her I could describe her. And she was just going back and forth all the time. And it turned out she was looking for someone. And what was really interesting, though, was that she was very confused. She was intelligent, but she was still looking for someone, almost like she didn't realize he was dead. And that put a whole other, kind of spin on the things that we might believe, because a lot of people feel like you're totally enlightened when you die, but maybe you aren't, because wouldn't she realize that he was over there? Why was she intelligently searching for him all the time? If you're totally enlightened, you would know about the other spirits, which again is a rabbit hole, because then it lends itself to the idea of we're in different dimensions and we may not see each other and all that kind of stuff. But I just thought that lends to kind of your theory of how much do we know after we pass? Are we fixated on certain events, certain things, certain, objects, certain people? Are we completely conscious? Are we confused like we're experiencing maybe in my studio? There's so many every time you think you have an idea, it turns into more questions. So I don't know. What I did figure out, though, this was interesting. I will share this. So the homeowner was with us for that investigation on the second night. And she was with me as I was doing some sections of the house. And I was telling her about the woman that I would see walking back and forth. Not even walking. She was kind of racing. And she got this stunned look on her face, and her eyes lit up because she almost couldn't form words. She said, "Oh my God, oh my God." And I said, "What's the matter?" And she says, "The light will go on in the room that you say she starts at." And then she goes, "It's not even plugged in." She goes, "It will go on in that room. I hear footsteps all the time in that pattern, and then the light will go on in the second room, and then it will go off." And that really validated for me what I was. She says, "It's not even," and she's shaking as she says it. She's showing me the cord. She goes, "It's not even plugged in," because it was sort of a storage room. And it really validated to me that, this stuff is really happening. And this woman was very intelligent. This spirit woman was very intelligent, but at the same time, incredibly confused. So to your point, how much do they really know? Maybe they are just going towards that beacon of light because they need some kind of clarity. And so that's where they're going. That was a really long-winded story.
I was just going to say.
But.
Where's my bell?
I know. But, it goes to that point. What do we know? We don't really know. I mean, are they completely
No, I don't
clear?
believe it. I don't believe they are completely clear.
No.
I don't think there's, just think of, it's impossible to be completely knowledgeable.
I wonder if they're just, like I said, fixating on certain people or certain objects or certain, if you, I hate to say this, but if you die in a fiery car crash, and there's a lot of reports of those people being seen there, is that just because they're confused and fixated on that one thing, that one emotion that they experienced at that point in time?
I don't know. Here's the thing. Our lives, we're all basically composed of the same genetic material, right? But our lives are so different. My experience is different than your experience, is different than somebody who is a Native American's experience. And I'm fixated on certain things in my life, not because they were necessarily, some of them may be traumatic, right? Certain things in my life happened, and now I react a certain way because of that.
Right.
But there's things I love in life that you don't share that love for. You have love for other things, right? So I just think maybe there's another level of learning at that point, but we certainly don't have all the answers. And to tie into that, and so many conversations that we've had on this show, I was show prepping my real radio show, and I came across a story about...
this isn't real?
Well,
No.
I'm
teasing you. I'm teasing you.
Listen,
This isn't a real show?
If it was, I think we would have been canceled.
Probably.
So a team at Harvard has put out a new theory on UFOs.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they're not actually coming from outer space, but possibly inside the Earth, or they're already living among us.
Mm-hmm.
They really believe that it's happening now. And this is Harvard University. It's, a higher school of learning and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it just kind of proves like how slowly but surely we open our minds to a certain degree.
Right.
And then you've got people who just will never open their minds. In fact, if anything, they would close them down and shut them down even tighter than they were ever meant to be.
Agreed. Yeah.
And I could go off on that. And that's a whole different story. But my God, there are some stupid people out there. And I want to take a moment to say this. It is Pride Month. You're going to be going to a Pride event coming up shortly.
Yay, in Vermont. Our Bennington, Vermont annual.
And if you ever want to see why pride is important to certain individuals, all you need to do is look on social media at all the comments after somebody posts about pride or about being a supporter of the LGBTQ plus community. And I just tell this quick story. Marlon Wayans, I don't know much about this story, but apparently his child is going through a transition. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's put out a bunch of photography of him being supportive of the community.
Awesome.
And the comments are just unbelievable.
Yeah.
People blaming him because he did a movie where he played a woman, right? And that's the reason why his child is confused. It's like, what? What?
Sigh. I actually look forward to this time of the year because I can clean out my friends list so much faster at times like this. And I don't say that to be funny. I literally cannot put up with people who act that way. You can believe anything that you want to believe. You are more than welcome to do that, whether it's religious beliefs, social beliefs, political beliefs. You are more than welcome to have those opinions. But the minute that you either try to push them on other people who don't want them or become so obnoxious that I can't even stand to look at your name, especially on social media, you are gone out of my life. You are gone because I know and I love so many people who are gay, lesbian, transgender, what else do we want? Non-binary, you name it. I know them and I love them and they are a part of my life. And just like I would not make fun of someone's brother or sister or aunt or uncle or mother or father or son or daughter or pet, I certainly will not allow that in my life. And so you better believe that, what's really sad, Todd, is that there has to be a month to celebrate it. Why can't we just fucking celebrate it all year long? Because it's people being who they are. It's people being who they are. And I just get so sick of that. I get sick of that. And so, sorry, just went off on that.
I'm sorry I brought it up.
No, that's okay. But, I just don't understand why we're all human beings. Do you remember when we did that interview, one of my favorite interviews that we've ever done with Jeff Offutt, the author?
Yeah.
And we were talking about, lo and behold, UFOs and aliens.
Was it Jason? Was it Jason Offutt or Jeff?
Yeah, Jason. I think it was Jason.
Okay.
Offutt. Yeah. And we all kind of were laughing because we were like, we all hate each other. Every country's going to war. Everybody's all... But you know what? The minute the aliens start, threatening us, guess what? We're all one big world. We're all just humans, and we all have to come together to fight it, right?
Yeah,
Not
but
that
these countries will fight for themselves and say the hell with everybody else. We just already
know.
know that. My point in saying that, though,
Sorry.
really, no, it's okay. My point in bringing that up, if I can even remember why I brought it up, was just the open-mindedness.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just absolutely incredible how people who tend to not have a lot of intelligence in their life tend to be the ones with the most closed off mindsets.
Yeah. I think you're right. The more you open your mind to experiences and, it's very interesting. I grew up in the country my whole life. I was in the country. My father, when I was younger, worked on farms. And so I was a farm kid a lot. And we're in the country, and your next neighbor was a mile down the road and all that kind of stuff. And so I know what it's like. And I think that some of the people who I've experienced in my life, whether it's political beliefs or social beliefs or anything, are the people that tend to be the ones that are isolated from others, are isolated. It's sort of like that whole just mentality of, I live in this county and I'm not going to travel outside of this county, let alone this state, let alone go to, California and see how they live life there. I've always been the kind of person that's wanted to explore and check out different places. And I think that's helped me in understanding the diversity of people and the possibility that there are other types of lives out there in the universe and all that kind of stuff. So I do think experience truly makes a difference in a lot of the things, to your point, that, the closed-mindedness, the intelligence, the experiences that you have definitely dictates, because if your uncle, if your father was a so-and-so politically and your great-grandfather was a so-and-so politically, well, chances are you're going to be a so-and-so politically. My uncle is a Republican. I am a Democrat. Doesn't mean you can't get along with each other. Doesn't mean you have to hate each other. Just means that, you should be open-minded enough to actually understand that everybody's different. So that's a great point you made about being open-minded about anything.
Everything, right?
Yeah.
We can't
everything.
We can't learn if we think we know everything. And even if it's actual information that we do know, there's still tons of stuff that we don't understand about that specific topic.
And I think it keeps me very humble in understanding that I don't know everything. We all want to know everything. It'll never happen, but it keeps me humble.
I don't know if I do. I think once we know everything, our minds probably explode.
I think ignorance is bliss in a lot of cases.
To a certain degree.
Yeah, it is. I agree. So
today is Father's Day, so I just want to reach out and say happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, to all the father figures out there. There are men and even women in our lives who have had to play the role of father, even though they've not had offspring of their own. So to those men and women who have helped you along the way, whatever that might be, it could be a teacher, it could be an actual father, it could be an uncle, it could be a mother because you didn't have a father, whatever that is. It could be an older person in your life who just had enough sense to open their arms and embrace you and help you through this trying time of life. Hats off to all those individuals. They certainly deserve it. And I'm remembering my dad today, and I posted a little something online. He was very, very stern. My mom and dad were both very, very, you acted a certain way, and that's the way it was. But one of the more thoughtful and intelligent and loving people I've ever met, and a great sense of humor. So anything that I have because of humor is directly related to my parents. They loved to laugh. They could tell a good story. And I just wish I would have had more time with my father when I was younger to hear more stories. I wish he would have opened up more about his life, because there were certainly many things that I've learned since he's passed that I didn't know before, and I wish I would have known it at that point. So happy Father's Day to everybody.
Yeah, happy Father's Day, guys. And happy Father's Day to our pet dads, because they're just as important in a lot of ways, too. And happy Father's Day to my hubby, Dave, for being not only a human dad to a human child who's now in his 30s, but also to our fur babies that he may not have always welcomed lovingly in, but now loves them very much.
Right. He didn't have a choice, because we all know poor Dave.
Poor Dave. Anyway, so yeah, so very, very, very happy Father's Day to everyone. Happy Father's Day to my dad, who I just talked to this morning on the phone. So, and was surprised he didn't get any baked goods today. So now I have to, look, I'm holding up my hand, shaking my head. Now I got to get him some baked goods.
Of course you do. Be a good daughter, for Christ's sakes. Go get that done.
But yeah, so anyway, so happy Father's Day to everybody.
All right. Well, we'll continue on with our summer schedule. Maybe you'll hear from us next week. Maybe you won't. We'll see.
It all depends.
It all depends on what we got going on. But until the next episode of the Sandy and Toddcast, bye.
Bye.